Need a push getting your spirits, wine, or beverage brand into the hands of consumers?
Welcome to Proof Live, where booze brands in the right hands. On a quest for the best tipple and toast with the most exciting and respected bottlings. Competing for the 100-point Perfect Score Century Award and the double gold and a spot on the top shelf to be sipped, shaken, stirred, and celebrated. Slide up to the bar with the biggest names in the spirits game as they clink glasses with your hostess, legendary connoisseur Jennifer English, for intimate conversations, live tastings, product launches, and the happiest hour there is. Now, broadcasting live from the commodious confines of the swanky Proof Saloon, where the liquid elite meet. Here is your hostess, the Madam of Manhattans, the Duchess of Daiquiris, the Queen of Conviviality, your hostess, James Beard Award winner, Jennifer English.
Fresh squeezed juice. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer English. I am the editor-at-large of Food and Beverage Magazine and the editor-at-large of Proof Magazine. And we are here on Proof Live celebrating one of the great ladies of the cocktail community. She brings her culture alive in her community in South Florida. So today, we're actually going to have a virtual spring break. I love that we're heading down to Florida. So many young people do. We all did when we were young. We all love what can happen on those long, sandy beaches. This springtime, it's a rite of passage. It's a ritual. And it's a vibe that goes on from generation to generation. And there are certain things that are the quintessential spring break moments. Our good friend, Renée Quinn, is here from Spirited South Florida. And I want to make sure she's there. She is.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fort Lauderdale.
I've got fresh squeezed grapefruit juice from
good.
a tree right outside, freshly squeezed, makes all the difference. That's why they call this the Grapefruit League of Spring Training. So it's spring training for baseball. The world needed a break from the winter. It headed to Florida. It's been doing it for 100 years. And there's always been a quenching, relaxing, exciting, spring is here, spring is coming kind of jump start to the spring everywhere else around the country. It's really the domain of Florida, and especially South Florida. So I wanted to talk to you about Spirited South Florida and how it takes that vibe of the country yearning for springtime, joining you on your beaches and in your hotels and in your restaurants and bars, and how you all bring it to life. Happy spring break.
Happy spring break. So I'm an OG spring breaker. I grew up here in Fort Lauderdale. And a lot of people might not remember that how spring break started was in 1938. The swimming coaches from up north decided to bring their kids down, and we had an Olympic-sized pool at the casino pool in Fort Lauderdale. And that was the very first time spring break started, around 1938.
Oh,
but
cool.
But most people remember it from Where the Boys Are. And that became the 1960s quintessential place to go. A lot of our friends, a lot of our parents probably met during a spring break. And through that whole period of the 60s, Florida then went into the 70s. And that there are some really fun times during the 70s and rock music and some great people like Crazy Greg at the Button South and Penrod's and Art Stock's Playpen. It was a playground. But then the 80s came and Fort Lauderdale wanted to grow up. So they chose to tell the spring breakers to go away. And so we went through this period in the 80s and 90s where we didn't have spring break anymore. And it's resurged a bit here now in the last, say, 5 or 6 years. We now have an entertainment district in Fort Lauderdale. So as people come to the beaches, they also come to some of the entertainment districts. It's still fun. And I came up with some different cocktails for our spring break for you that you can get here in Fort Lauderdale while you're here during the spring Easter break.
So talk about the year-round cocktail culture of South Florida before we dive into our drinks, because
Okay.
I want to make sure people understand it actually is a really delicious, robust, sophisticated, legit cultural scene
Yes.
rooted in the gastronomy and the mixology of today's more modern moment.
Totally. So when you think of Florida, you're going to think of either going to Orlando, right, to Disney, or you're going to go to Miami, maybe Palm Beach. Fort Lauderdale, we're the best of both worlds between Miami and Palm Beach. We're maybe not as cosmopolitan as Miami might be, but we have an amazing bar scene. And I am so proud of the bartenders, mixologists that we have. You can really get craft. The art of the craft cocktail is alive here in Fort Lauderdale. Not only do we have amazing restaurants that have bars that have brought on different mixologists, but we also have speakeasies. We have a lot of underground speakeasy cocktail clubs here in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, cool.
So whether you could want a rum punch or a daiquiri, you could want to go to the Elbow Room or some like local place, but then you can go to a very cool place here in Fort Lauderdale, like a Stash, or we have a new room 901. It's a hotel room, but it's a speakeasy. So my goal with Spirit of South Florida is to guide my fans, my viewers, my listeners to really kind of understand the culture of a cocktail, and that's from the ingredients, the freshness, how they're constructed, how they're made, and then enjoying whether you're drinking gin or whiskey or vodka, enjoying that spirit and having again an experience. So again, that's what we're about in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm really excited that you let me come on today and to feature our town and Fort Lauderdale.
Well, we're very excited, and one of the things I also want to mention, Renée Quinn is also very involved in the world of distilled spirits, representing them, and also working with women in the industry, women bartenders, women distillers, women-owned brands. I wanted to, before we went too far, talk about that a little bit, because that's one of the things that I think you're really pioneering and innovative in doing. It might seem obvious that we would talk about this. It would maybe even seem obvious that we wouldn't need to, but in fact, it's still a really lopsided kind of environment.
We do need to talk about it. And for myself, I was a corporate private banker, so I got to go to some of the best bars and restaurants in town, and I started learning early about cocktails. I really enjoyed what a Manhattan was, what an old fashioned was, at a time when my friends were not drinking those types of drinks. And I can really give a lot of credit to a former client of mine, and he started an amazing speakeasy in around 2012, and I had the opportunity from the ground up to see that world and all the types of spirits that you could get. And he's amassed an amazing whiskey collection, which brought me into this entire world. But like you said, it's a lot of men. But I have to be honest, I was welcomed into this world because I wanted to learn. The Fort Lauderdale Whiskey Society started up about that time. So that gave me another opportunity to try things, and, from scotches to bourbons to rye. And I didn't know there was all these choices. I just thought it was whiskey, right? A whiskey sour, an amaretto sour. If I would go up to a bar, honestly, a bartender and would look at me and they're like, do you want a Cosmo? Do you want a vodka? And I'm like, no, I want a Manhattan. I want an old fashioned. So again, as you learn the taste, your tastes change, and think of going out as an experience. That's here what a lot of our bars, as we come back online and we're starting to be able to go out again, I think we're going to take advantage of that and start creating really unique experiences for people with our chefs, with our bartenders working together, creating culinary combinations. I think that's exciting. But women bartenders, there's a few groups that have created bartender competitions to encourage women to get into that side of the business. Because as you and I can probably agree, most of the world's best bartenders are men. Most of the books about bars are written by men. So I'm seeing
Although
more women.
I'm gonna stop you right there and say that Caitlin Stewart from Vancouver, British Columbia, was the Diageo World Class Champion a couple of years back. And
Yes.
she keeps some very good company with Lauren Moat, Sabrine Dollywall, Katie Ingram. And then we can go to the East Coast. We've got Misty Kalkoff. I mean, there's some very
So we need to.
talented Julia Momose. I'll put Julia Momose
Yes.
up
Oh,
against
Julia.
anybody anywhere in the world. So I'm not going to
I will
argue
go
with
to
you because,
Chicago to see Julia.
right? So we're
But
not arguing,
think
but
about it.
it's true. The world thinks of mixology and the bartenders that we're talking about,
They do.
you know, as the guys. But I know
So
that
let's
Audrey
introduce these
Sanders.
women.
I know, and I know that Audrey Sanders and Julie Reiner and all our friends would maybe have something to say about that, which is why we would even mention it today.
Yes.
So who are these
But
women?
we need to get these women out.
Yeah. So who are
We
these
need
women
them here.
that are
I'd
running
love to
these?
invite them to Fort Lauderdale. So now we talked about the women, and it is an up and coming world for them here in Fort Lauderdale. So I would love to have some of these amazing women come here and showcase what they do so we can educate people more about this world that we're in. But back to spring break, what would you say is your favorite spring break cocktail if you were to go out?
I know it's kind of cliche. I love fresh squeezed juice. And I would talk all day long about what I call the split and double, which is to have twice the juice and half the alcohol, which is much more quenching and lets you have and I love highballs, drinks in a very tall glass with lots of ice. When you're in a warm climate, whether it's in Arizona where I am now or Florida where you are, I'm in the Cactus League, you're in the Grapefruit League. When it comes to spring training, that's a neat way to think about it, but it's still the warmest places in the country right now. And people are envious of the fact that it's sunny and 74 degrees right outside for both of us. So let's talk about why we love these things. We love them because they're quenching, because they're very satisfying. They feature the best seasonal produce in either locale, whether it's lemons, limes, oranges, or grapefruits. There's a lot to be said for why we love these. And when you're coming from a snowy environment, and it's been now, December, January, February, March, we're really ready to feel a little bit of sun on our face. And when we do, we want it to be cooling in our glass. So I love grapefruit juice just in general. I love ruby red grapefruit juice, like I've squeezed or squoze here. And I love that in a simple midday sip. But I'll tell you 3 favorite spring break drinks for me. And I'm sorry about the first one. I love Mai Tais. I love anything in that tiki vibe because I love all of that exotic, you're on vacation. And when we go to spring break, we are on vacation. So, and a well-made Mai Tai is a thing of beauty. And I also really like just a classic Greyhound, which is a grapefruit or a Paloma, depending on whether I'm on the East Coast or the West Coast, and I know I can get something really. But again, when I do grapefruit, I'll do a split and double. Again, double the juice and half the alcohol. And I learned that, of course, from my friend Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet. When he taught me that, it just made everything just lighter, brighter, and more delicious. And then my third favorite, I have to say, is something with lots of bright freshness in it. I know mojitos are very, very popular, but I like gin and tonics. So all of these, again, with the Spanish style gin and tonics, they can incorporate all that brilliant fresh produce that each of us have right now off our trees, the limes, the grapefruits. And I always Spanish style will put a little piece of ruby red grapefruit in my gin and tonic as well as the bright fresh lime. So those are my 3 gold, silver, and bronze spring break drinks. But I know you have something even more delicious for us today.
I do, but also the Mai Tai is probably the quintessential, to me, tiki cocktail. I love that cocktail also. Recently, I love Campari, so I've been drinking a Jungle Bird. So that infuses pineapple juice with really dark rum. And then the Campari, it evens out the sweetness. And the cool thing, like you were talking about drinking and highballs, I start with always a highball. So I'll start with a less alcoholic cocktail. So on my evening adventure, I'll start less cocktail. I'll have that strong really good drink in the middle. And I'll end again with maybe even a non-alcoholic version of a cocktail that I love. Really good bartenders can make you a cocktail. I hate the word mocktail, but they can make you something so that through the night you're not drinking so much that you don't enjoy that cocktail. So a few of my favorites, talking about the Paloma, because yes, grapefruit's really, really cool, is the Salton Sea. And that is a basically taking the tequila and passion fruit. So passion fruit, we're by the Caribbean. We get a lot of cool ingredients like guanabana, passion fruit, pine berry, in addition to strawberries. And so this one takes the lime juice and the passion fruit. So that's tart. You add a really good tequila in there. And the twist on this is freeze it. What you're going to see in a lot of places now are cocktails you can take with you. We're allowed to do that right now. If you have a license, you can batch or make cocktails to go. So this type of cocktail can actually be on tap. And I don't know if you've heard of that, Jennifer, but we're starting to see certain cocktails like Negronis and rum punches on tap. It does two things. It gives you a consistent cocktail experience, and it allows the bartender to not get overwhelmed. So you're still getting a beautiful glass and a pretty straw or flower, but that cocktail might be on tap versus the bartender making it for you.
Which is how you can do that high volume.
Yes. And that's really spring break. Honestly, it's crazy. And you're going to see a lot of drinks in plastic cups and, but there's another whole group of us that aren't on the beach per se. And we still want to go out and have a good cocktail experience. So a margarita, I would say most people say that the margarita is one of the number one cocktails ordered.
I bet that's true.
And there's so many variations. Key is fruited. So whether you use really, and the rum punch is really making a comeback. Rum Congress is a gathering of rum and tiki people, as well as the hukilau. And you're going to see that in Florida because of rum being right off the Caribbean. And we have so many new people making rums. I don't know if you noticed like kind of a burst of rums on the scene, but it's exciting to try. I just got a sample of a blackberry rum, which I'm really excited to try. And bourbon barreled rums. There's a Marquesa called Marquesa, a bourbon barreled rum, and that is a beautiful rum. So definitely the rums are good. And then frozen, people like, how unfortunately, I think the daiquiri and the pina coladas got a bad name because people think of those tropical drinks you get when you're on vacation, but they're always sweet and they maybe don't have that craft feel to them. So honestly, those drinks can be made beautifully with just the simple ingredients. So just try a pina colada made by a bartender, not frozen, a regular pina colada. So I always recommend those types of cocktails, but having them hand shaken versus frozen. And that's a great tropical experience.
I want to make sure that everybody knows.
One.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Nope, go ahead.
I want to make sure everybody knows we're having a little time lag in our communication. I apologize for that. Yeah.
The last one I was going to tell you is something really simple called gin and juice. And it's basically taking those beautiful juices you love, adding gin, pre-bottling them, and people can take them to go. And the key is lots of ice in that glass. And out of that one bottle, you can get 3 servings. So it's a great grab and go, take to the beach, take with you, do the poolside. And again, we're seeing a lot of creativity with our bartenders. Even Jell-O shots are making a comeback.
Really?
I know. But crafted ones. So they're almost like...
Jonathan, I wanted to make sure we had a couple of pictures of the drinks that Renee has prepared for us. And there's the gin and juice. Let's go back to that gin and juice. What a great bottling. Renee, tell us a little bit about this while we have it up on screen. And look at that orange slice. Okay. That looks like dehydrated orange.
Yes, so dehydrated fruit's a great way to have fruit available, for all the cocktails in a quick time frame. And this is a beautiful Glendalough gin from Scotland and Ireland, and it's just gin and fresh squeeze. This is a pineapple and orange juice mixture, and you can
Wow.
see it's put in a really cool little plastic to go container, and people can purchase those. They can get most of the cocktails today at a lot of places in sealed containers like this.
Wow.
Very
And
delicious.
then and then you showed us, there they are, the three drinks we're featuring for spring break. Can you
Right.
go around and tell us which ones are which, and tell us the serving suggestions
Yes.
and sort of the tips for making it spring break professional style?
Correct. So the one in the beautiful rum red colored with the again dehydrated, that's a typical rum punch. That one is a draft cocktail. So whether it's made by hand by the bartender or you at home, it's basically that three ingredient cocktail: rum and lime juice and a lot of ice, and then just some little bit of different flavors that you might want to put in it, like allspice or pineapple or cherry. It'll really change up the flavor. Again, that one's on tap. You can also get them frozen, but that's your typical rum cocktail.
And what kind of
The one
juice
in
is in that?
front is, yeah, that one is pineapple, orange, and a little bit of the cherry juice from the cherries that they keep it behind the bar. So it's very tropical tasting. And again, the dark rum can hold its own. So it's a little forward tasting in rum. The front one is your classic daiquiri, a little bit of salt. The rim, not too much because you don't want to take away from the flavor of the cocktail. Pure lime juice infused with tequila and a little bit of, instead of simple syrup on this one, they're going to use agave. And any fruit that you want, you can add, and that will make it a strawberry. You could have a jalapeno. You can have a mango. So usually the bars will have at your disposal many different flavors to choose from. This is a traditional lime margarita here.
Love
And
it.
then in the back is that frozeny Paloma Salton Sea that I mentioned. So you could see a little creaminess because it's the passion fruit is a creamy color. You can also have some toasted coconut to give it flavor. That has mint sprigs and toasted coconut,
Yeah.
and packed, as you can see, packed with ice. That's a really cooling cocktail. And again, all of these can look as beautiful as being handcrafted by your bartender, but they're easy to make behind the bar because they're either a quick 3 ingredient cocktail or they're on tap.
You've been generous enough to share the recipes. We're going to put them on our Food and Beverage Magazine Clubhouse Connect on Facebook. Renee, talk a little bit about this image on Riverwalk magazine that we're showing here.
Oh, so Riverwalk is a local 501c3. It's a charitable organization that really was started back in the 80s to create a beautiful brick-lined linear park along the waterway. And you might say to me, Renee, I didn't know there was a river that runs through Fort Lauderdale. And that's because for many years you never knew the river was there. But thanks to the efforts of Riverwalk and many other organizations, we've have a beautiful linear park. And along that, you can walk and stroll and visit restaurants and go shopping. It's really the centerpiece for Fort Lauderdale, other
That's
than the beach,
fantastic.
which is the biggest reason. So I write a fun little column, again, to support hospitality and give chefs an opportunity to showcase their talent, as well as bartenders.
And now is the time then, what a perfect segue to say that you're going to be joining us in the pages of Proof Magazine every month with a
Yes.
column about the amazing women in our business.
I'm very excited. We have so much to really look forward to. I see this as a reset, and I'm doing things different. I'm only doing things I want to do now. And I'm also doing things to bring together the best elements of what our community has to offer. So I live here, I work here, and I play here. So I want Fort Lauderdale to be the best it can selfishly, so I can have the best chefs, so I can have some great cocktails. And I am so excited to be able to curate for your readers, when they come to Fort Lauderdale, their own experience and make it feel like you're here with me.
Well, I'm going to raise my glass. Is there the ultimate spring break toast?
Thank you.
What is the ultimate spring break toast?
Oh, put me on the spot on that one. So if the OG spring breaker in me, I loved going to the Button on the beach and the candy store. Those were some of our most fun places. So I would just say, my toast would be make it so. Make what you want happen. Take advantage of all of what's happening to us and just do something that excites you and brings you joy and also supports your community.
Well, cheers. Have fun.
Cheers.
My toast to you all is to have fun.
Have fun.
Need a push getting your spirits, wine, or beverage brand into the hands of consumers? Interested in winning medals like a double gold award? Proof Awards 2020, the ultimate beverage competition, can help jumpstart your brand into the hands of beverage buyers. Enter the Proof Awards. Be a part of the Proof Awards marketing campaign with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. All of our judges are buyers, and that's what sets our awards program apart from the others. Our judges head the beverage programs for restaurants, bars, nightclubs, casinos, liquor stores, big box retail, and national wine and spirits distributors. Your brand will be tasted by buyers from more than 15 states across the U.S. We have hundreds of categories to choose from at www.proofawards.com. Be seen by 12 million readers with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. Get tasted and rated by buyers. The 2020 Proof Awards competition is open for spirits, wine, and beverage brands today. Proof Awards 2020, moving brands into the marketplace. www.proofawards.com. Need a push getting your spirits, wine, or beverage brand into the hands of consumers? Interested in winning medals like a double gold award? Proof Awards 2020, the ultimate beverage competition, can help jumpstart your brand into the hands of beverage buyers. Enter the Proof Awards. Be a part of the Proof Awards marketing campaign with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. All of our judges are buyers, and that's what sets our awards program apart from the others. Our judges head the beverage programs for restaurants, bars, nightclubs, casinos, liquor stores, big box retail, and national wine and spirits distributors. Your brand will be tasted by buyers from more than 15 states across the U.S. We have hundreds of categories to choose from at www.proofawards.com. Be seen by 12 million readers with our partner, Food and Beverage Magazine. Get tasted and rated by buyers. The 2020 Proof Awards competition is open for spirits, wine, and beverage brands today. Proof Awards 2020, moving brands into the marketplace. www.proofawards.com.